will you just point to me? I'll know when, or just go as soon as the intro goes off.
You guys all got yours? Yeah, as soon as the intro is done. That's right. All mics are hot. So look at what you say.
Hey, Roger, do I need to bring up that?
We're going to bring PowerPoint. Okay. All you got to do is when it goes to full screen, you just do what you do.
Okay.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone joining us either in person or virtually for this safety forum that we're having this evening. I'd like to thank the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance in cooperation with the Muscogee County School District for presenting this safety forum, and our guest partners who are with us this evening. We have Mr. Chance Corbett, who is the Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management, Chief Freddie Blackman from the Columbus Police Department, myself, Dr. David Lewis, Superintendent of Education for the Muscogee County School District, and to my left, we have Chief Greg Arp, who is the Police Chief for the Muscogee County Police Department. The purpose of this forum this evening is simply just to inform and to update folks on the safety measures we have in place, those that we can and will share with the community at large. Please note there are others that will be in place that we will not share for obvious reasons. With that said, we are going to ask Chief Arp to kind of share with you all the information we have for this evening, and that our partners will also share the way they collaborate with us to ensure the safety and welfare of our students, staff, and faculty. Chief Arp.
Thank you, Dr. Lewis. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we're going to discuss some of the new and ongoing safety initiatives that we have in place across the district. There it is. Some of the new things that are going on with the district is the board has generously agreed to allow us to add more officers to the school police department. We are increasing that total number from 15 to 25 with the command staff, and we'll be able to cover all of the middle and high schools with our own MCSD police officers. Additionally, the board has granted us 12 part-time positions that will help fill the gap with the elementary schools that have a longer response time, and they're not close to any of our existing schools that are manned by our police officers. Those officers will be on campus daily, and they will be interacting with our students and staff to provide a safe and secure environment for our students to learn. Additionally, we are going to be conducting random safety audits this year. Members of the Muscogee County School Police Department will fan out across the district at given times, and we will be going around to each school either in uniform or in plain clothes, and we'll be checking doors, checking windows, and addressing those items that we find during those safety audits with the faculty and staff. The video surveillance system that we currently have in place is needed of an upgrade. And we have allocated some SPOS funding to help upgrade those facilities with a new video surveillance system, and that is underway as well. In addition, some of the schools across the district are getting vestibule remodels so that In order to enter our buildings, you have to go through 2 sets of doors. You will be able to get in the first set of doors, and then you will have to ring yourself into the office before you have access throughout the building. Once you're in the office, school staff will check you in, and they will run the visitor's ID through the Raptor visitor management system to check various databases to make sure that we don't have any one coming into the district, into our buildings across the district that should not be there.
Might also point out that we have entrance access control to all of our buildings, so no one can just gain entrance into the schools without being buzzed in by someone in the office.
Some of the ongoing things that we have currently in place that we have been doing in the past and will continue to do is we hold annual lockdown drills with our faculty, staff, and our students. We go regularly. The first drill is usually announced. The students and staff know that we're coming. We're there to help and facilitate. Members of the police department will go into the building. We will actually lock down in the event of pretend like it's an emergency, and go from room to room checking to make sure that the teachers and the students are doing those things that they've been trained and taught to do. Additionally, as I said before, the Raptor video visitor management system is in place and is being used. When you go into one of our buildings, you go to the front office, and if they ask to see your ID, what they're doing is they're running it in the Raptor visitor management system to check against databases to see if there are any undesirable individuals that are trying to get into our buildings. The district also has implemented the Strategic Crisis Alert system. As Dr. Lewis is noting, those systems revolve around, or that system revolves around that badge, and it allows the wearer to summon aid in the event of an emergency or a medical emergency with a push of a button. 3 clicks will activate a staff alert indicating that there's a medical emergency, or any member of our team, staff member, can activate now a lockdown in the event that they see a dangerous situation on one of the campuses.
And Chief Farf, if I may point out, this will ensure that we get the right emergency personnel to a pinpointed location. And it's already, in terms of 2 medical events we've had in the school system since implementing this badge system, we have addressed one of our custodians that had a heart attack and one of our culinary techs who had a grand mal seizure, in which case we were able to get medical response to them within a few I think about 2 to 3 minutes.
Yes, sir, that's correct. It's a force multiplier for us because it gives us more eyes in the building, and it helps us to protect our students and our staff, and allows them the opportunity to summon aid at a moment's notice.
And one other thing I'd like to mention, this also is active for all of our employees and is also active at athletic events, other sites that might be on the campus. Sometimes some systems only work inside a main building. These will actually work at athletic facilities as well, so that's critically important, especially in after-hour events.
One of the other items that we have that are currently in place, if you go to the school district's website, on the right-hand side of the page, you're going to find a block that says Vector Solutions Safe Schools Tip Line. Anyone across the district, or any parent, any grandparent, any member of the community, if they hear of something that is of concern to them that threatens the welfare of our students or staff, they can go to the webpage and they can either enter their information and remain anonymous, or they can put their name and address or phone number for a contact callback, and we will get those tips immediately, and we will route them to the appropriate individuals so that those concerns can be addressed at a moment's notice.
I do want to take a moment here to just pause and just share. In studying several of these incidents that have occurred in our country over the last several years, almost without exception, someone in the aftermath of the incident said, "I knew something." We found out that they could have possibly stopped it or prevented it had they shared that information with someone else. That's why this tip line is so critically important. And even if it's not a tip line, if someone out there knows something, sees something on social media, hears something, please share with the appropriate authorities, whether it's school personnel, law enforcement, our tip line, anonymous tip line, whatever it might be. It's critically important that everybody take ownership of this to ensure everyone's safety. And again, knowing that in the aftermath of some of these situations, oftentimes we find, almost to a case, we find out that somebody had something, some piece of information that would have been very helpful to possibly prevent the situation from occurring.
One of the things that we began doing back in 2020, the district formed what we call the CARE team. It's a multidisciplinary team. The full name is the Collaborative Assessment, Response, and Education Team. It's a group of individuals that come together, and they are given reports from staff members across the district on students that have concerning behaviors. And when I say multidisciplinary members, I mean we have school psychologists on the panel, we have school social workers, we have members of student services that serve on the panel, as well as law enforcement and other community partners. When they receive these reports, they address these on a case-by-case basis, and they form a plan for these students to help them with whatever crisis they're going through. Then we offer wraparound services to help cover any counseling or any additional issues that is deemed necessary to help that student get integrated back into the student population and succeed.
And always in concert with the parents, making sure they're involved in the process as well.
The district is also using the Raptor Emergency Management System, which is a component of the Raptor Visitor Management System. It's an overall broad system that allows us to track and have access to immediate information regarding student population counts, so that we're able to, in the event of emergency, know where our students are and account for those students as we need to. It also provides law enforcement and emergency responders up-to-date information as they travel to the scene, so that we know where a lot of the individuals are currently located.
And in the, once again, in the aftermath of an event, God forbid it should happen, we have the opportunity then to utilize that system to reunite families. And that's a critical aspect, and we need to make sure everyone understands that should that ever occur, we're asking everyone to be as patient as possible. Obviously, we want to try and secure the scene, get everyone safe. But on top of that, when people do arrive on scene at the reunification site, make sure that you bring the appropriate form of some form of identification. We're not going to just release students to somebody who says they're their parent. It has to be somebody that we can prove who they are and is on their emergency information card that we fill out at the beginning part of the year.
And lastly, for the ongoing initiatives, last year we purchased a new member to the Muscogee County Police Department. K-9 Buddy has been in the field now for almost a full school year, and he is providing with his K-9 partner, with his human partner, Officer Ralph Perkins. They do random narcotic searches across the district. In addition to doing the searches, that team also provides some educational component to our students, where they teach them about the dangers of drugs and alcohol. We would not be able to do this alone. Like we have said before, it takes a village, and this village includes our partners in the city, and without their help, it would be very difficult for us to solely provide a safe environment for all of our students. And we rely on them heavily and collaborate with them often regarding investigations and training and various aspects throughout the school year. They are an integral part of what we do, and we have several members of that team here with us tonight, and I'm going to turn it over to Chief Freddie Blackman and allow him to speak for a few minutes, and then Mr. Lance Corbett, who's the head of our EMA department.
Okay, certainly. Good evening to each of you, and certainly to Dr. Lewis and Chief Arp. I just want to share with our Muscogee County School family that the men and women of the Columbus Police Department and we regard our students as top priority. Their safety is utmost on the very top shelf for us to ensure that they're able to attend school and gain the education that's intended for them. And in order to do that, we have to ensure that they have a safe arrival to school, safe day at school, and then a safe return home. And so we go about doing that by ensuring that our officers will assist the Muscogee County School Police Department. We will monitor the school zones with our officers. In addition to that, we want to make sure that our students and our parents are aware that when you're walking to school, to just make sure that you utilize the sidewalks that are provided. And if the sidewalks are not provided, we certainly want everyone to be able to adhere to the guidance of walking facing the traffic, so you're able to see what's oncoming. In addition to that, we want our parents to certainly be able to be mindful while you're in the school zones to slow your speed and watch out for other drivers and certainly for other pedestrians that are in the area. So we want our parents to ensure that they follow the protocol that our school system has set in place regarding dropping the students off as well as picking the students up. If there are any particular incidents where the bus drivers are on the route picking up students or dropping students off, we want our drivers, our parents, and those who are driving the vehicles to adhere to the signage or the signaling from our school buses to ensure that our students are able to board the buses and unload from the buses in a very safe manner. And throughout the day, we will provide assistance with our officers from off-duty capacity, working in our school systems, but even with our on-duty officers, when there is a need to provide assistance in the school or on any school property, we stand ready to assist the Muscogee County School police officers. We stand side by side with them, and we are ready to address any challenges that may present. As I was talking to Chief Art previously, we are in the process of developing additional training to ensure that we are able to remain in sync with one another. I know that the Muscogee County School police officers have conducted some training regarding active shooter, and our officers have conducted training as well. But we want to make sure we continue to train together so that we are in sync as we go forward to ensure a very safe and prosperous school year. And so each day, whether it's at school or at any particular school-related event, we stand ready to stand beside and assist the Muscogee County School police officers to ensure we have a very safe year.
Mr. Corbett?
All right, thank you, Chief. Again, my name's Chance Corbin. I'm the Director of Homeland Security and Emergency Management here in Columbus. And I just want to start off by saying that thank y'all for doing this and the other things we have done collaboratively together. It is an honor to be able to work with such a great administration, superintendent, and also Chief Art. But, I get to work every day around Chief Blackman and Sheriff Countryman as well, and Chief Scarpa with the fire. And every day I see in their actions and the words they say that the safety of this community is number one. And obviously with the school system, those are our kids. That is why we're here. And the reality of everything we do every day is to try to to make it safer for them and for them to have a better life. They're our future, and we understand that. So I could promise you our office stands ready to do anything possible to continue to work with. Chief Arp, since I walked in the door, we have had a very good form of communication and sharing resources. I hope that our office brings a wealth of knowledge as far as school safety. I've been doing that a long time. I actually came from a university, Auburn University, and where I was a director there for many years. And what I see happen in this school district is nothing short of just amazing, because the things he just went over are things a lot of school systems just dream about. And you have that here. You have your own police department that are dedicated officers there to respond that I know have been taking some excellent training lately. And you know, I've known Chief Blackman for a long time, and I know he's dedicated, and Sheriff Countryman. I think it's an excellent time to be in Columbus. I work directly for the mayor as a director, and the mayor has been pushing very, very, consistently that we need to do everything we can to be prepared, including the training we just did. We did a tabletop exercise with all of the folks in this room and more. And the mayor kept saying we need to be prepared. We don't want to, obviously we don't want to get caught if something like this ever happens. And I think just the pure dedication of this team and their support staff and the facilities of these schools and the things they're doing, I think we should all be proud of what we have here in Columbus and know that there's no expense being set aside. The dedication and the professionalism here is it's gonna be what keeps our kids safe. But thank you for the opportunity to come.
Well, thank you. And in addition to those here, we have, of course, as Ben mentioned, Sheriff Greg Countryman, but also it extends beyond that. We also train and talk regionally. We work with the Fort Benning emergency management folks, and we have interagencies on both sides of the river that work and collaborate together. So should anything ever happen, whether it be a natural disaster or something of the nature we're speaking about tonight, we have resources and personnel who are training and working and speaking and collaborating together to ensure a unified response. And that is so critically important. And I just can't stress how much I appreciate the interagency cooperation and work going into this on a regular basis to ensure that we are as prepared as anybody can be for any kind of situation that might arise. So Chief, I'll turn it back over to you and final.
The last piece of this puzzle that needs to fit together is the parents. So what can you do to help us? Continue to engage your kids, your children, your grandchildren. Talk to them. Learn about their day. Learn if they're having any issues while they're at school. And if they are, report those through the appropriate channels. Support them. It's not easy being a child anymore. It's not easy.
Or a parent.
Or a parent. Continue to be informed about what's going on in your student's school. Actively engage with that school administration. Get involved in the PTA programs.
Let me also mention there too, something that has concerned me and has in my entire career. We see parents typically very involved in elementary, and as the children get older, middle school and high school, sometimes parents start to ease away thinking the children don't need me as much anymore and the children don't want you there necessarily as much anymore. That's when in my belief is they need you the most. Know who their friends are, know what activities they're involved in, and make sure they are involved in activities, whether it's music or athletics, robotics, whatever it is. Kids who are engaged in some kind of activity like that are less likely to get involved in other activities that are more of a negative or adverse nature.
Again, if you have any concerns or issues, follow the appropriate channels at your child's school to report those issues or concerns, and sit down and have an open dialogue with them and communicate your feelings. And last but not least, this is a big one. If you're not monitoring your child's social media accounts, or if you do not know how many social media accounts they have, please find out. As the gentlemen all up here can attest, we do more investigations related to social media posts than you can imagine. It's vitally important that you as a parent are informed and aware of what's going on your child's social media pages. Last but not least, is anybody, we're going to open the floor to any questions?
Anybody in the audience have any? I would like to recognize again the members of the Interdenominational Ministerial Alliance and thank them for co-sponsoring this event. Also, we have 3 of our board members here this evening. We have our board chair, Ms. Patricia Ugly Green. We have our vice chair, Ms. Lori McCrae, and also board member Naomi Buckner. So we thank them for being here. I know other board members had planned and wanted to be here, but had other conflicts, whatever, taking children to college and one thing or another. But nonetheless, we thank everyone for being here this evening, and we'll entertain any questions you might have.
My name is Marvin Broadwater, Senior. Don't have any children in the school system anymore, but I had 2 to go through here. Just a concerned citizen. I want to make a couple of points. First off, as I said privately to the superintendent, just want to thank you all for this. It eases my mind. The collaboration, we see it, and I think that's very important that we trust those in authority. So I want to thank you for that. Now, the next couple of things I'm going to mention, sort of rhetorical comments, but one thing that I've seen, and like everyone else in the nation, we follow these incidents, I will call them. I don't like to use that word S, but the incidents. And you don't have to tell me, but I would ask that you have more than 2 officers at each school. I would ask that you do that. Second point is somewhere, somehow, we're talking to our parents. I mentor a lot of kids, had a teen summit the other day, and this came up in a teen summit from a 9th grader. And the 9th grader, she said that she was afraid. So I would ask that you also, not that you not only give some comfortability to the parent, you give some comfortability to the student and hear their concerns. I think that's all I have, but again, thank you. And just be as prepared as you can. That's all that you can do. But we thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all for sharing tonight. As a parent, if there is a concern that I have as it relates to the safety at a particular school or a protocol that I feel that should be in place, but I don't see it carried out, what is my course of action of being able to relay that concern of safety or lack thereof where my children may be?
Like any concern, you start with the school administration. Start with the principal, the assistant principal, but obviously we ultimately want to make sure the principal's aware, and we'll go from there. But that's the ultimate first place would be for them to go to the principal and express any concern, whether it's academic, safety, security, whatever it might be. The principal is where you'll want to start.
So good evening. My name is Denise Cambridge, and I am a parent in Muscogee County School District. My question is more so outside of these larger events that we've been hearing about when there's an incident that's school-specific, student-specific, and video surveillance. So when we're going to the Muscogee County police officers, the school district police officers, I've been asked this question by a parent. Do they have that permission or authorization to review that video surveillance with a parent, or if not, who should they review that video surveillance with?
We have a policy in place or a procedure in place, ma'am. Typically, that was handled by our risk manager. We're in the process of filling that spot, that position at the moment, so at this point, reach out to me. I'll be happy to discuss it with you. If we can if we can conform if we can, if we can accommodate your request, I'll be happy to do so, as I know anyone else will. But we don't try to hide things. We're very open. We want you to know the process, what's going on. But there's certain procedures that are in place for these type of issues, and there's certain things that we have to follow.
Legal parameters we have to follow. Any other questions? Well, if there are no other questions, I again want to thank everyone for coming this evening. I will share with you once again that this has been recorded and will be available on our district YouTube channel, and we'll have a link to that on our website as well. So we encourage everyone to watch this at your convenience. And if you have additional questions or concerns, again, as we shared before, start with your school and your principal, and direct any specific questions to that principal. And beyond that, we're all here as a district. Our sole function is to support schools and families, and that was what we will be doing going forward. So I do thank everyone for being with us this evening, and I want to thank our partners. I could not feel more comfortable with the partnerships we have, and I thank them for their commitment to the safety and welfare of our faculty, students, and our community at large. Thank you all.
Certainly welcome.
Absolutely.
And that ends our session. Thank you.